Hello everyone, my name is Sesame. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Yellow Couch Podcast. Yellow Couch Podcast. Yeah, baby. As you can see, there is a yellow couch in my home, hence the name Yellow Couch Podcast. I am a pianist studying music diploma in Douglas College. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I also play the melodica, the baritone ukulele, the U-bass, the kalimba, and the automaton. I recently released my first original single called Drive You Anywhere, so don't forget to check that out. I'm a big fan of Löwe, and a while back I discovered a podcast called Jams with Miles and Julian because she was invited to one of their episodes. After watching the whole thing, I was inspired and determined to make a podcast of my own and put it on the internet. The Yellow Couch Podcast will be a monthly series with topics centered around music, and I'm going to invite different musicians onto the podcast. Each episode will last for 30 to 40 minutes. During the podcast, we will talk about what they have been up to musically, discuss some music-related topics and issues, and casually chat about our lives. I would allow the conversation between us to flow naturally, so it doesn't necessarily stay on something about music, and as time goes by, I want it to get progressively out of control, so we can diss each other and say some funny jokes. In my campus, there's a hallway where music students hang out every day between classes. People just sit on the ground and talk about random stuff while chucking down fast food or speedrunning their theory assignments. A few days ago, I met with a couple of my classmates at a choir concert, and when I told them my plans of starting a podcast, one of them said to me, "So you basically want to do the music hallway, but in your house, right?" Yeah, that's how you describe my thoughts on what the podcast should be in the simplest of words. What makes this podcast unique though is that people are not simply invited as a guest, but rather to co-host the podcast with me, which brings out authentic conversations and a more relaxing and comfortable atmosphere. In addition, I will ask these musicians to play music with me, which creates another audio/video series called Yellow Couch Concert. The name is obviously inspired by the NPR Tiny Desk Concert, but instead of solely having musicians to perform, I get a chance to collaborate with them, creating unique contents and satisfying my desire to have fun with other people. Since this is the first episode of the Yellow Couch Podcast, I will tell you a little bit about myself as a musician. I was born and raised in Hong Kong and studied classical piano for over 10 years. 3 years ago, I came to Vancouver and graduated from high school last year. I have always wanted to pursue a career in the music industry, and this podcast might make me one step closer to my dream of meeting all my idols and make music I enjoy. I was exposed to a lot of classical keyboard pieces and cantopop songs from the 80s in my childhood, mostly under the influence of my parents. It wasn't until I left Hong Kong when I started developing my own musical style and taste. Here are the genres I prefer over the years. Jazz, including big band swing, bebop, and cool jazz. Rock, country, pop, indie, bossa nova, jazz fusion, folk, shanty, and choral. One thing to mention is that I have loved a cappella music since grade 7. I have made a few a cappella covers in the past, and founding my own elite a cappella group is on my bucket list. In terms of who I want to include in the podcast, I hope to invite musicians based in the lower mainland to promote local music and support small artists just like myself before I have the chance to interact with the very popular celebrities, but I will probably start with my classmates from music diploma first and work from there. There are a couple of local bands in which I know some of the members personally, such as Pink Lady Duo and Sacred Soul Band. Also, I went to the Port Moody Rib Fest in July and watched some local musicians performing live on stage. My favorite ones are Generations and the Heartland Levy Band, and I wish to feature all of them on the podcast someday. Also, I just found out about Olivia Hahn, based in Victoria, BC, which would be a great artist to feature on my podcast. Here is a list of artists I would invite to the podcast in the future, in no particular order. Jacob Collier, Löwe, Chaperone, Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, Biba Doobie, Clairo, Pink Panthers, Gracie Abrams, Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Lorde, Benson Boone, Conan Gray, Somber, Hozier, Lizzie McAlpine, Noah Kahan, Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, Role Model, Bryan Adams, Coldplay, Nickelback, Michael Bublé, Humphrey, Pentatonix, Voice Play, The Bass Gang, Eric Holloway, Big Breath, Colin McGuinness, Jonathan Young, Elliot Robinson, Casper Fox, Peter Hollins, Manav Sharma, Vinnie Marchi, David Kahn, Avi Kaplan, Austin Brown, Chris Rupp. Okay, how do I read this? Dustin Christensen, Vince Gill, Rise, Chevy, Ben Bram, Gustavo Dudamel, Paul Davis, Charles Betud, Davey 504, Two Set Violin, Hilary Han, Ray Chan, Valentin Kovalev, Awen Zhang, Simon Dirick, Jocelyn Lai, and Joe Hisashi if he is still available. I'm also open to guests who speak Cantonese or Mandarin, or even other languages if I can hire a translator. 以下係我希望邀請出席 podcast 嘅香港音樂人名單啊，排名不分先後。林家謙、林一峰、鄧小巧、陳雷、方浩文、何韻詩、張敬軒、黃遠之、謝安琪、馮允謙、周國賢、達明一派、謝雅儀、Sika、Rubber Band、Cola、C All Star、My Little Airport、Leighton Heat、潛熱、黃愛欣、Manson Vibes、張晉呢個字點讀啊？橋Senza Acapella 一鋪清唱啊，仲有黃明志，我一直都好中意佢嘅音樂同電影嘅，並且佢都有自己嘅 talk show 叫做 Talk Cock， 睇下我哋以後有冇機會合作啦。If you want me to feature an artist who hasn't been mentioned, please let me know in the comments. To end this episode, allow me to take you through my audio setup. I'm currently using an SE Dynacaster condenser mic to record my podcast. And here are my Lewitt instrument mics. Everything is connected to my discrete 4 audio interface into FL Studio. The entire setup cost me about $1,700 after tax. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel where I upload the podcast episodes, release all my music, and live stream myself practicing the piano. You can also drop any questions or comments down below. Lastly, make sure to stream my first original single, Drive You Anywhere, on all platforms. My name is Sesame, and once again, welcome to the Yellow Couch Podcast.
Oh baby, let me drive you anywhere. Get on a ride to catch the sunset. Fly through the wind.
Oh my god! 哇，終於錄完啦 Which creates another audio/video series called Yellow Couch Podcast. I was born and raised in Hong Kong and studied classical piano. My favorite.
You are the reason to drive.